Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another live stream. I've been having this idea to do a daily Bitcoin update that will be relatively short every day, and this is going to be the first one. So I hope you are all going to enjoy this. As usual, if you have any questions, make sure to put them in the YouTube comment box. Also, make sure to subscribe as it helps me a lot. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're going to start off not by showing the Bitcoin chart, but we're going to have a look at the current Bitcoin shorts. Going to switch over to the daily chart. And I'll just quickly open the Bitcoin chart as well. Okay, so there's a couple of interesting things regarding the Bitcoin shorts. Currently, we're sitting very close to the all-time high. This all-time high in shorts was set on April the 12th, and it was quickly demolished by the bulls. So if we're gonna take the Bitcoin chart, we're gonna go back to April the 12th. You will see that, and I'm just switching over to the 4-hour chart. Should make things a little bit more visible. There we go. You will see that the last time Bitcoin shorts were this high, the price rallied basically 20% in one day. This is also the reason why I am currently not in a short position, but I am in a long position. This is a low leverage, longer time frame long, and I plan to keep it at least until, if we break the 6K range, obviously I'll get out. But if we don't, I intend to keep it. And I hope that during the next bull push, obviously this was quite a violent move upwards. If the same thing happens again, I do hope we can break resistance. This resistance has been in play ever since January and has not been broken since. Good question. Do you think we've seen a Bitcoin bottom yet? No. For that, we're gonna zoom out to 1 day. Okay, so we have the Bitcoin daily chart here, and we have the USD shorts. There's two possibilities that I am currently eyeing, and I will explain them right now. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the channel that the shorts are currently in. In my opinion, two things can happen. Either they're going to be rejected at the previous high, resulting in another push upwards. At that point, we will have tested the 6 to, let's say, 6.5K range 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay. If we break upwards, I do not personally believe that we have to test this range again. If we break upwards, this would also happen to be the first higher low that we've set all this year. As you can see, basically for the entirety of the year, we've gone lower and lower. And right now, we might be setting a higher low. If we also manage to set a higher high after that, I can, with some confidence say that the worst is over. However, there's of course also the possibility that the shorts will have to go here. If this is the case, obviously we will need a pretty decent move downwards for that. And if this happens, then my target for the next move down would be this support that we have set last year. Basically, this is the very last support. There's not really any supports after that, save for horizontal supports, obviously. But it would mean that we are going to break this range And if we do, I will start a new position right at the bottom here, probably somewhere around 5200 to 5400 range. So for now, it's just a waiting game. If I had to put my money somewhere, I would say we are going up due to the insane amount of shorts. Basically, whole Twitter is bearish. Everybody, nobody expects anything good right now. The ETF just got rejected. There's no great news, and if nobody expects a certain move, that's usually the time that something interesting happens. If everybody is on one side of the boat usually flips over. And as you can see here, everybody is short, which means everyone is expecting a move down. And therefore, I think it's more likely that we're going up. And this is a great sentiment indicator. Also, obviously, you can also check out the longs. People can say whatever they want, but what matters is where they put their money. And obviously, people are not putting their money in longs right now. As you can see here, they are actually putting their money in shorts. Funny thing, majority of the market is more often than not wrong. There's only a small percentage of traders that is right whenever something happens. That's why 80% of the people trading actually lose money. So for me personally, I do believe we're going up here. I'm not 100% certain yet. If we do break the 6K range, obviously this would be considered pretty bearish and might extend the bear markets by another couple of months. Yeah, that's the basic idea, Claiborne. I'm in contact with a lot of people that used to trade crypto. A lot have quit. Some have given up. Some got completely wrecked. Some others panicked and sold their entire positions. And that's what I'm looking for when I'm looking for a bottom. I'm not looking for great news. I'm just looking for people that exit the markets. And right now, a lot of people have exited the markets. And that brings us to the next subject, which, of course, is alts. If Bitcoin is going to rally here or, dump, depending on where we go, but let's say it rallies, as I'm currently expecting, I'm not saying I'm right, I'm just waiting for confirmation here, then we have to consider, like, okay, what's going to happen with alts? And I think a good alt indicator is Ethereum. Obviously, Ethereum is one of the most important alts. It's still not. We've seen that over the last couple of months. This thing basically behaves like all the other alts. And I think it's important to understand, like, okay, what is the market going to do if we do recover? It doesn't have to be like a full-blown bull market where we go to 30K, but, let's say sideways would also be recovery at this point. Now, there's a couple of interesting things here to look at. First of all is the volume profile. As you can see, the gross majority of volume has happened between $320 and $260. This is $100 range. One could say this should be moved up a little bit, but let's leave it like this. You will see that this volume candle, or these two volume candles, are far, far, far larger than any of the others. Especially here at the top, there was barely any volume. And of course, you can see this in the charts. The bears took complete control there, ruined all the bulls, and just pushed the price. Let's see. 61% down in 1 month. Now, this can be justified given to the fact that there's no volume there. However, we are now reaching a high volume area where I do believe, bulls have a better chance of maintaining the current price level or pushing it up. Now, let's zoom in on this pattern right here. What I'm looking for in a reversal, obviously, is a pattern. If you're going to reverse, you need two things. You need volume. Volume can be confirmed, as far as I'm concerned, and we need a reversal pattern. For that, we're gonna move or zoom in slightly. And as you can see, we can spot some divergence here. You know, the RSI is moving up and the price made a new low. I'm talking about closed lows here. I'm not taking wicks into consideration, but you can clearly see some divergence here. Now, this leads me to believe that we might possibly be close to a reversal. To confirm this, we're going to have to zoom in and look for patterns, right? The first thing I would like to talk about is obviously resistance. And I think I have to, there we go. That's a small trick I'm using. I'll just quickly explain it. Sometimes it is like very difficult to find a good resistance or support, right? You know, it doesn't really match up, leaves out some wicks here. If you cannot find support, then something you can try, and it works more often than not, is go to scales, options, click on logarithmic scale. You will see that the entire chart is now in logarithmic mode, and you can check if you can find any support or resistance there, which in this case we can. See, we've now found our resistance. Now we're going to check out support. As far as I'm concerned, this is support. I would like to note, however, that support or resistance usually needs 3 tests in order to be valid. Now, for resistance, you know, obviously 1, 2, 3. So the resistance is good. Support, however, that's 1 and that's 2. So this is an unconfirmed support that is more likely to break than the resistance here. Now, let's say this is our resistance channel. Okay. What we're going to look for is obviously first the divergence on the daily, which was bullish. And now we're going to have to wait until this resistance here breaks. Now, if this happens, where could it potentially take us? For that, we're going to have to zoom out a little bit again. And we're going to have to look at the volume. Now, as you can see, there is a very large volume gap here. You know, basically nothing happened in that area. And the first real volume starts at, say, 400 USD. Now, 400 USD is very close to where we bottomed on the last bear run. And so I personally believe it is safe to say that we're going to have to do a retest. You know, obviously, if we take the ETH chart, we had a very good support going on, which I will show you right now. Basically, you know, this right here was support. Now, we broke support, you know, we broke completely down, but there has been no retest at all. There's no bullish move back into these ranges, and more often than not, you can actually see a retest. You know, a retest happens like 99% of the times. And so personally, I do believe it is safe to assume that we're going to have to revisit the range of, let's say, 360 USD. I'm going to take a position in this as soon as, you know, if we've got some confirmed bullish movements, I'm going to take a position for the retest. I'm not saying like, okay, we're going to resume bull market. Not at all, actually. I think this needs some time to recover, possibly like a couple of months. But I do believe there is some money to be made on this retest. You know, you can BitMax this. You could just buy and hold for the price to reach these levels. You know, obviously, other side of the story, we could get invalidated here, break our previous low. And if this happens, you know, we're going to be in some good trouble because there is no volume between, let's say, 255 and $80. You know, $80 is where volume resumes again. And my reasoning is if this volume area, this high volume area couldn't hold the price up, then No, this area right here is not going to do either. Quite likely this will just be wrecked, fall straight through this volume gap and into the next point of control, which would be like $60. And I don't think anyone would like this. Might seem like a dramatic fall, but if we just remove the log scale and we zoom in on the linear chart, you know, that is quite a way to go. And basically we would lose another, I don't know, 80%. Therefore, I do not believe this is like very likely, because look at it this way: when a bubble pops, usually it has to retrace 80%. 80% is the magic number for bubble pops, and we have now retraced 80% successfully. And I personally do not see any reason why we would have to dump down further. Let's see. What's your opinion on the market that has changed with the introduction of shorting? I don't believe this has changed the market very much, and my reasoning for this, if we check, hold on. If we check the Bitcoin chart and we scroll back in time, to the good old days when we still had a barbecue coin, this also happens. We didn't need to be able to short in order to basically lose 86% of the market. So the only thing that has changed now is that before, during these times, you could not make any money in crypto. The only thing you could do is buy and then maybe sell. There was no margin, no nothing. So basically this whole area right here, this 2 years, there was nothing to do. But now we can actually profit of the fact that the market is dumping. BitMEX, Deribit, Bitfinex, all these exchanges offer possibilities to also be profitable during the bad times. So obviously, in my opinion, that's a good change. We can still make money if the whole market goes wrecked. As long as it goes up and down, basically there's money to be made. Bitcoin dominance. Okay, let's talk about Bitcoin dominance for a bit. Let's go over to CoinMarketCap. And we're gonna check out global charts. Okay. Now, what do we need for another altcoin bull market? We need Bitcoin to be at least, let's say, 60% dominance. Why? Most alts, believe it or not, are still traded against Bitcoin. A couple of exchanges offer USD. Personally, I see USDT as an altcoin. I do not see it as USD, and it's very dangerous. In fact, obviously, everyone has their own beliefs and their own opinions, but I do think USDT could go wrong. There's just so much stuff that potentially could go wrong that it's, for me personally, too risky. So I trade against Bitcoin most of the time. Now, Bitcoin is fuel for alt runs. So I think the higher this goes, the better. If this manages to get up to 70%, obviously I do not believe it will be 85% or like 90% ever again. But if it reaches up to the 60, 70 numbers, then we have sufficient fuel to, spark a new alt bull run. And believe it or not, alt runs are where the big stacks are made. So I'm just currently waiting for that. It's like very exciting. Any day it could happen. But obviously, like for another half a year, nothing could happen. That's also possible. So basically, this is my general view of the market. As I said before, I don't want to keep these videos too long. I have special alt videos that I do for the Crypto Campus members, so feel free to watch those. They will always be on Tuesday and Thursday. For now, I do believe it is very important to keep an eye on the shorts. Check out where this goes. And if we do break the previous high, we could get some turbulence or some downwards movement before we actually get a short squeeze. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts on the current market. I will be doing these videos every day from now on because I would like to focus a little bit more on the short term, given that, during the bear markets, most of us are actually BitMEXing in order to make our profits. So I hope you guys enjoy this. If you have any suggestions at all, about videos, so that something that could make them better or more valuable, make sure to share it. I'm open to everything. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you like this, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great weekend.